Generally, I'm going to print these as we go, even if it doesn't tell me to, because the questions at the end may ask us to print or save it. Now, obviously, what we want to do is save the report, then upload it to Moodle Rooms. So there's a few ways to do that. The preferred way for me is to export it to Excel. So I'm going to do that first, and I'll do a few other ways later. So I'm going to create a new worksheet in this case. And then in this time, I'm going to create a new worksheet and a new workbook. On my second one I'm going to print, I'm going to create a new worksheet in an existing workbook. So then I'm going to go ahead and export this, and Excel should then open and create this report in it. So here is the report. So if I make this large, notice we don't see the header here. So if we want to see the header, we can go to this view down here, page layout. It's going to give you this pop-out saying it has a freeze pane in it. So don't worry about that right now. Say OK. And then we can see the header here, meaning we can see the file it comes from and the report that it is. We're going to go back here. We can also do that by going to the File tab and going to the Print and looking at the preview screen. So there is a header there. It's in the header section. Now note that it has this funny freeze pane thing in it. And if we want to get rid of the freeze pane thing, then we can go to the View tab here, and we can go to the Windows group, and you can see the split is highlighted. It's a split, not a freeze. And I'm going to go to Unsplit, and that will take that away. We then would probably want to format the tab down here, and once again, if you go to the second tab, then you'll see the name. So I'm going to double click on this tab. I'm going to call it AR. You can't put a dash because it will think that it won't accept the formatting. And I'm going to put AR Aging Summary, and maybe 1215 or something like that will be the report name. I'm going to go back to this screen, and then I'm going to save this report. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Save As, and then notice it's going to the cloud right now. I'm going to put it to the computer. So we want to go to the computer. We want to save it somewhere on our desktop in this case. And I'm going to change the file name. I'm going to call it Week 1 Assignment 1 Chapter 1 in this case, or something like that. I'm going to scroll up to the desktop here. They're going to scroll down to the QuickBooks folder there, and then I have a Week 1 folder that we set up. I'm going to put it there. I'm going to put it into Chapter 1. Again, you could set your system up a different way. This is just one way to organize the files, because we will have multiple reports we're going to need to print and then upload. We can either leave that open or close it and move forward on the next item here. Now note that if you don't have Excel and you need to save it a different way, you could save it as a PDF file. You could go to File and Save as a PDF. That function usually works. Sometimes it's not available on all reports. So another option that you could go to is File and then Print. And then you can change the printer, in this case, to a PDF printer. So I have this PDF printer here. If I were to print that, then it wouldn't actually go to the printer. What it would do is if I hit this drop down, sometimes it's behind the screen, so if I hit that drop down, it pops up. Then it will allow me to save it. So I'm going to go to the desktop and go down to the QuickBooks folder, Week 1, once again, Chapter 1, and this is Week 1, Assignment 1, Chapter 1, and I'll put a dot after it since it's a different type of file, and save it there. So then if we are to open our QuickBooks file now, we have the Week 1 and we have the Chapter 1, and there we have these two files, one being the Excel file, the other being a PDF document. Now the reason I don't think the PDF document is as good is because once we do multiple reports, we'll have multiple PDF files, which will be harder to upload and more time consuming for the reader to download, and we always want to keep in mind the reader when we're printing reports for someone else to read. If we use the Excel document, then we have the advantage that we could put them all on separate tabs and then upload one file at one time and be able to open it all at one time in this case. Alright, let's take a look at the next item in the book. I'm going to scroll down, I'm going to go to page 15, and we have this troubleshooting, and it says to note that the customers owe the company a total of $35,810.02. So what that means, if we take a look at this report, what does this report mean? It's in order by customer, and we've got the current balance that has not been past due, then the 1 to 30 past due, the 31 to 60 past due, the 61 to 90 past due, and over 90 are total balances. That gives us the total balance that is due from all customers, and that's 35,810.02. What other report would we see that on? It's going to be on the balance sheet. They didn't ask us to do this, but I'll show you this real quick. If we go to reports, I'm going to drop down instead of going to the reports menu. It's a little bit shorter of a path to get to most all the reports. And if you go to customer and financial, and then you scroll down to the balance sheet, if we have the same date here, that number is going to be, of course, the accounts receivable. So many times we're going to look at the balance sheet first and say, how much do people owe us? 35,810.02. Then we're going to ask, well, who owes us money and how past due is it? Are we calling these people to get our money? And that report is the AR aging report, giving us who owes us money by customer, and also letting us know how past due it is. And we'll talk more about that report later. So now let's take a look at the next item where it says that Scott wants to see a graphic illustration of this information from the menu bar. Click reports, click customer receivables, and then click the accounts receivable graph. So I'm going to go back to the report here. We're going to go to the reports. We're going to go to customers and receivables. And if we scroll, I'm going to click it again. If we scroll down, we see the AR detail. We see the accounts receivable graph. That's what we want. I'm going to run it. I'm going to go ahead and run that. There it is. It gave the default date being 12/15 again. That's what we want. So that happened to work out for us. I can see that if I put them on side by side, it looks correct. I'm going to go ahead and print this out once again so that we have it in case we need to upload it as part of our assignment. So in order to do that, you note that there's no export to Excel icon here. So we can't export this to Excel. And if we check to see if we could save it as a PDF under the File tab, that option is also grayed out for us in this case, at least for me. Therefore, the only option that we have is the other two, meaning print it to a PDF printer or screenshot it. I prefer to print it to a PDF printer if you have that capability. Otherwise, we can screenshot it. So I'll show you both options at this time. So we're going to go to the print tab. There's the cute PDF printer. I'm going to scroll down. If that was not selected, we can then select some type of PDF printer. If you do not have one downloaded, you could download one for free and it'll show up in the printing area. Then if we print it, it won't go to the printer, it'll go to the cute PDF printer. If it doesn't pop up automatically here, note that it might be behind the screen for some reason. So if you wait a little bit and then click this icon to minimize, sometimes it just pops up at that time for some reason. Then we're going to browse, we're going to click the drop down, we're going to go to the desktop, I'm going to scroll down and I'm looking for QuickBooks, which is right here. Double click, I'm going to go to week 1, I'm going to go to chapter 1, and I'm going to save it in here. So this is going to be the AR, I'm just going to call it AR aging, and put the date 12/15. Now saving these reports, notice that this is basically half what we need to do here is to know where to save it, where to find these files, and then be able to upload them. That's part of what we need to get done in basically chapters 1 through 5. That's where we're going to spend most of our time. And so if I double click on this, go here, week 1, there we have the AR aging in a PDF format. All right, now if we don't have that option, which again, it's free, you can download it, but if we want to screenshot it, that is acceptable as well, although I prefer to have the PDF. So I would use Word, which has a nice screenshot option we can practice using at this time. And so if you open Word and you go to the Home tab and the Insert group, many of the Microsoft Office programs have this in the illustration group, this screenshot item. So I would take advantage of this. It can be useful in many areas. You could screenshot the whole screen, whatever screen you have open, or you can take a clipping. I prefer to take a clipping most time, but I'll show you both options. If you go to the entire screen, it will look like this. You really should crop it if you were to give this to someone though, because they don't need to see the open window or the taskbar. The cropping goes into this window that popped up automatically. It's in the size group crop. It has a drop down or a button. If you hit the drop down and go to crop, these little handles will pop in. We can then take this handle and remove everything but the report that we want to then show to somebody. So we can do something like that, click off of it, and there we have it. If we want to do it a little bit quicker, we can just go to the Insert, Screenshot, And as long as this was the last window we had open, we can go to the screen clipping option, and it'll pop to the last window, and then we can just draw a box and so-called clip the area that we would like. And that's a little bit faster. So this is a last resort option for printing and saving reports. Obviously not quite as nice. I'm going to go ahead and save this, go to the desktop and scroll down, and we want to go to QuickBooks and week 1. I'm going to go to chapter 1, and I'm going to call this just reports, because we might have more than one report going in there. And so there we have that. All right, let's see what else we have within the text here. I'm going to scroll down. We are now on the bottom of page 15. I'm going to skip to the gray areas. You should pause and read the rest of it as we go. To access the customer balance detail for Susie Rummins. So from the menu bar, click Reports, click Customer Receivables, and then click the Customer Balance Detail. All right, so we're going to go to the reports. You could go to the open windows, or you can go to the reports up here. We're in the customer balance detail still. We're in the customers and receivables. Then we're going to scroll down to the customer balance detail, which is a little bit down here, where we see there's another header. It says customer balances. Then we have the summary, but we want the detail. So we're going to go to the customer balance detail report. I'm going to go ahead and run that. So make sure you have the detail. That will give you a little bit more detail of who owes us money. In this case, it's not in terms of the aging. It's in terms of the individual and then the transactions that happened. And what are the two types of transactions that happen for customers? We invoice the client, then they pay us, right? So we invoice, they pay, they paid. We invoice, they paid. They owed us 108, they paid us, now they don't owe us anything. They owe us 108, they paid us, now they don't owe us anything. They owed us 108, they paid us, now they don't owe us anything. That's what this report should look like if it is being kept up properly, and of course if we're getting paid, which hopefully we are. So we want to scroll down to the Rummins Susie and see what she has down here. It's in alphabetical order, as you can see, which is probably why they made us go down to the S's down here so we can observe the alphabetical order. All right, so we're looking for Rummins. So here it is there, and we have this one invoice at 12/12/14, and we have the amount and the balance that is due to us. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this entire report once again, and I'm going to go back to exporting it to Excel. So I want to export it to that same Excel file that we had already exported to prior. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Excel. I'm going to export to a new